Hello, good morning and welcome back to the fish locker out on the coast. Now, if you can see there, the sun is literally just coming over the horizon. We're out this morning down on the Lizard Peninsula in Cornwall. Now, locals might immediately recognise that there. Loads of robins this morning. That has the charming name of the Devil's Frying Pan. Yeah, we're going to be carrying on today from one of our previous coastal exploring videos that I filmed in the summer. I want to be working along the coast in that direction. Just enjoying the sunrise and then I'm going to start moving. It's a lovely time of day to be out, nice and crisp this morning, just you and the songbirds. It really isn't hard to see why this is my favourite time of day, is it? Just look at that. You've got the first of the boats leaving Cadgwith this morning, and that's where we're heading to now. It's a cracking little spot, this down on the Lizard. Loads of little tiny coves. I'm going to head down now as we're walking. I'm going to run through Cadgwith and then along the coast to see what we can find. Now, we have got a half decent low tide today, so hopefully I'm going to be able to coincide the end of our walk with a little bit of a scavenge on the shore. You can see how cold it was this morning. We've still got a bit of frost on the ground, but yeah, I've seen all sorts this morning. Saw some woodcocks on the way down and some goldfinches now out with the robins. We will make our way down. The little village of Cadgwith that we're coming down to now, just to say see. All down in there. That's Cadgwith. Now that is the most southerly fishing port in the UK. It does date back to the 16th century, which it was originally was a collection of pilchard cellars. Now, a lot of the fishing around Cornwall started with pilchards. Pilchards are like sardines. Don't tell anybody from Cornwall that you call them sardines. But yeah, originally it was a fishing port for sardines, pilchards. And what they used to do was, back in the olden days, they used to have lookouts up on the headland up there and the one where we just started, watching for the pilchards out in the bay. We used to go out and seine them and then bring them all ashore. We are going to head down there and we're going to have a look, because there are still some working fishing boats from Cadgwith that launch from the harbour. Now, we have seen a couple of them set off this morning, but I think there are still a couple on the beach. There we are. There's Cadgwith. Now, there are two little beaches here. One on this side and the main working beach on that side. This little stretch of rock down the centre actually is called the Todden. You can see there a couple of working boats and the tractor helps launch them down the sand. That Scorpio there, there's a friend of ours who works on there, Tommy Phillips. Quite a famous Cornish fisherman now. Featured in quite a few programmes lately. This is a lovely little place. We have had an awful lot of bad weather lately. This is easterly facing. Anything easterly runs straight in here. We have had an awful lot of bad weather and you can see it's really stirred the water up. Not only has it pushed an awful lot of kelp up onto the beach there, but you can see the clarity of the water. Water's like pea soup, isn't it? It's a problem with this time of year, even when you do get a nice day like today, because you've had a week's worth of bad weather, the fishing's hard. We'll have a little walk through there, see the old cellars, and then make our way along the coastal path up there. Here's some of the working gear. These are nets worked by some of the boats. You see the different size meshes. That one there's got a good handspan. Yep. God, these are a fair sight bigger than the ones that I work, aren't they? That's more like my size. There's a little prawn pot. You can see these boats here have been adapted to suit this type of life, working up and down the beach, because you can see how they've extended those two skegs so that it's stable, so that if you just had one keel, the boat would just keep rocking over, wouldn't it? So they've extended and strengthened them skegs, and for constantly running up and down the beach they've had to reinforce them. Generally what they'll do is they'll have half a dozen of these logs to roll them up the sand and winch them up via these snatch blocks. So they'll have a capstan inside there that pulls this wire in. I do love the smell of fresh kelp. Don't know what it is. I think it kind of takes me back to when I was younger, playing on the beach with my brothers and sisters. We practically grew up on the beach. Right, that there I'll show you. That is from a dogfish. You can see all cartilage, no real bones. Whereas that one is from a bony fish. So those are the vertebrae. You can see the difference there between a dogfish, a cat shark, and a normal bony fish, can't you? That has come from a small-eyed ray, and there's the teeth section of a ray. Anybody who watched my last video knows that my finger got tore up by one of them. You can see now why, can't you? I always find it really interesting, like raking about at the high tide line to see what's washed in. You can see here all of these are cuttlefish bones. These big ones here are from a female, and these little ones here are from a male. So this is the main body skeleton of a cuttlefish. Yeah, you might recognise these. Well, there's like a love heart there from the inside of like a canary cage. And there are the old cellars. Now a licensed cafe and restaurant. Yeah. Dating back to the 16th century, that. There we are. Now in the distance down there on the headlands you might be able to see the Lodge Signal Tower. That was where our last video ended. I will tag it into the description of here. Yeah. There's Cadgwith. I'm seeing it. It's nice to see the stone crop coming out, and that's where we're going. I like this. I don't know about you. Doesn't have to be fancy to be functional, does it? A bit like myself. I think I've found a friend. Wild grazing ponies. Scratching his bum on a rock. He's not fussed, is he? He's not bothered. Got his mate down here and all. Yeah. You've got to be hardy living up here, roaming about on top of cliff eating gorse. It makes sense now why I've got these. Whoa. Struggled to get my hips through there. to stop the ponies going through, isn't it? People ask me, they've asked me quite a few times, what is it about being out on the coast? What is it about your fishing? What is it about being in the woods? What makes you put in that effort? What makes you get up at that time of day to do those things when you could stay in bed for an extra couple of hours? And I say it's not just the action of like the fishing. It's not just the chance of catching a fish. It is everything that goes with it. I mean, just look at where I am now. Look at this. There is not a soul around. Beautifully calm, absolutely quiet. It's just you and the birds and the, the hairy ponies, and it's just beautiful. Now I've tried to explain about my idea of it being that you just need to find something that gives you joy. Find something that makes you happy, that makes you truly happy. And the people that can find that in the simplest things are generally the happier people. I just love this. It was a little bit early to get James out of bed, but hopefully as he gets older, he will enjoy it too. Yeah, it would be a nice day out on the boat today, but fishing wouldn't be very good. Another thing this part of Cornwall is famous for is the geology, the topography. It's the stone in the ground. If you've seen any of our other coastal exploring videos, I've shown some of that. Some areas like the hard granite, others the Myler shale. The reason why this part of Cornwall is unique is because the stone that's found here is usually found at 5 or 6 miles below the Earth's crust. And the only reason that it's here, is a process called abduction. And what that is where two continental shelves meet, they force the stone up to the surface. And it's found quite commonly in this area of the coast, and it's called Serpentinite. The mineral's called Serpentinite. The stone is called Serpentine Stone. And the area that we're working to down here in Poltesco was a serpentine works. It was an area where they used to take the stone and used to work it into ornaments, into trinkets, like stones for brooches, even things as big as like fireplaces. Originally, it started out like Cadgwith as pilchard cellars. I think dating back to like the 1700s, and then eventually it became serpentine works until I think it was the turn of the 1900s actually. In fact, the families that worked it, because they were living local, some of them even still, when the works failed, they still kept working serpentine stone into like brooches. Now all they do is they sell it to tourists. Hopefully we'll be able to go down on the beach and we might be able to find a few pieces. It's called Serpentine Stone. What it is, it's a metamorphic rock. It's a sedimentary rock that's put under immense pressure and immense heat down underneath the surface of the earth. And what it needs to have, the components that it needs to make serpentine stone, is there needs to be a low silica content and a high water content. So there you go. I've got a geologist, I've got a friend who was a geologist, and I love talking about stuff like this to him. I think it's fascinating. This is it. That there. That there. This here. You see the colour of it? That's what we're looking for. There we go. These ruins were once a thriving Victorian factory making mantelpieces, gravestones, shop fronts and polished ornaments. Employing 20 men and 3 boys. There we are. I've wondered before about these. How would they balance that on there? This circular building here used to house the capstan. You know, like how I showed you with Cadgwith, how there was a winch inside of a building that used to winch the boats up. It's called the capstan. That's where it used to be housed in here, for hauling the boats up the beach. Yeah, the Serpentine Stone from round here, the Sperpentinite, it's red with like green and grey veins in it. That is it. I can tell because, I don't know if you can see when I cracked it. See, it's got the like the shiny crystals in it. So yeah, there you go. Cornish Serpentine Stone. And we're going to make our way now back up the cliff and along towards the beach. Now this I like. I like that. This coming here, this is a red campion, but all of these and all of these you can see here are 3-cornered leeks. I've shown them in other videos before, foraging videos. You can tell them by their triangular cross section. They're like a type of wild garlic. I've shown them in a couple of our foraging cooking videos before. There we are, we've made it down now to Kennack Sands. This is Kennack. What I'm going to do is, the tide is still ebbing off, the tide's still going out for another hour. Now if you're coming to a new beach and you want to find out what's here, what's possible to be able to collect, to forage, a really good place to look is the high tide line. So anywhere around up here, anything that lives here that's died will have washed up this way. So immediately by starting looking, I know that there's going to be limpets, hard shell clams, that's dog cockle, there's another hard shell clam, dog cockle again, oh there's a stunning one, yeah. So immediately just by scanning around for 5 minutes, I know that there's going to be hard shell clams, dog cockles, mussels and limpets. So it gives me some type of an idea what to look out for. Let's go and have a little bit more of a look. Here's something. A little piece of blue sea glass. Now James collects sea glass, he calls it sea treasure. I'll take that home for him. This here is called lava, and it is edible. You make lava bread from it, but it's the cooking process is like 4 hours. There are quite a few of these, look. These are big clamshells, really thick. That's the second one of those I've found now. Yeah, there are some big clams around. I'm just wondering whether or not all the rough weather that we've had will have pushed them further to the coast, so you'll be able to find them, or whether or not it'll have just buried them all. This we'll find out. These here are two perfect examples of this Serpentine Stone. There's one, and there's the other. There are lots of pieces of it. Right up there, look. And lots of cockle shells. There's another one of those big clam shells. These types of seaweeds here are dulse. You can see, look, it's red. And these here, these little flat fern weeds, these are pepple dulse, and both of these are edible. All seaweeds are technically edible. Some were just some were just nicer than others. What we're going to do is we'll work our way along the side of the rock pools, see if we can't find anything. Here shows you three different types. That is a warty Venus. Those are dog cockles. Also here, purple top shell. I don't know how well you can see that in the sun, but they are lovely colours. That was fast, wasn't it? There it goes. A little rockling, but I tell you what, that was fast. No messing around with that guy, was there? What about this guy here? Check that out. That is a long-spined sea scorpion. Impressive, aren't they? How camouflaged he is. Just perfectly camouflaged against a rock that colour, isn't he? But what you'll find is he'll change. I'm trying to get him to change colour. He's purple at the moment, like that rock, isn't he? But put him somewhere else, put him onto some lighter rock or some darker rock, and he'll change colour. It's a long spined sea scorpion. You get two types. You get a long spined, which is that one, and you get a short spined. If you ever find one pretty much above that size, up to being like £2, it's a short spined sea scorpion. Most of them that size are long spined sea scorpions. There really are just hundreds of these dog cockle shells. They're everywhere, look. But I just can't find any full ones. I'm wondering whether or not they've all been washed up like the last couple of weeks in all the bad weather. They've all died, and any of the live ones are back out there. That's a really nice one. And there too. People keep asking me, they keep saying, well, why do you keep leaving all the shells on the beach? And oh, I'd love you to be able to sell me one of them. I leave as many shells on the beach as possible because they are part of the ecosystem. They will eventually break down and they'll make sand, and animals can live inside of them. It's I'm not going to tell you not to, but I'm going to say it's better to leave things on the beach. if we ever go and collect any scallops or anything like that, or any mussels or any cockles, we take them home to cook. When we're finished with the shells, we take them back to the beach. I've had a good walk along the beach now at the low tide line, and to be honest, there's just, oh God, I hit some soft sand there. Yeah, I hit a soft patch then. So yeah, there's been too much disturbance the past few days. Everything that was, I mean, there was a few dead things, but yeah, I think it's just been too much weather. You can see how much, I mean, it's moved a lot of sand about, and the water's still really cloudy. So I'm going to make my way back, and I might get the drone out and we'll have a little bit of a look. Oh, that's something. All those dog whelk eggs in there. Yeah, we'll get the drone out and we'll have a little look around. Peacock butterfly sunning itself. I'm surprised it's absolutely roasting now. I might take off another layer in a second. It's turned into an absolutely lovely day. It is very warm as well. It's you wouldn't believe it. End of February, would you? Absolutely stunning. I don't know if you can see them, but there are a couple of commercial boats working. If we're lucky, when we get back to Cadgwith, we might be able to see one or two of them landing. Yeah, the thing to be careful with, if you ever come upon some of them, never stand behind them. You spook them and they'll kick you. I've got back down to the cove now. Exciting, we've got one of the commercial boats coming in, so I'll be able to show you how they land up the shingle. See there, look, we'll connect the wire that's down the beach to the bottom of the boat, drag it up with the capstan. I'm going to run down there and we'll show you. See the cable now, running up via the snatch blocks to the lad up on the winch. You sit easier on one.
One builds longer than others.
There we go, fine Cadgwith lobster.
That was Silver Queen just landed up the beach there with the truants. Thanks again.
No worries.
See you later on. The three historical buildings that house the fishermen's gear, winch and where they process their catch are at risk of being purchased for development. This would put an instant end to the fishing way of life here. The Cadwith Fishing Cove Trust are holding a crowdfunded in the hope of purchasing these buildings outright. Please see the video description for details of how you may help.